Good evening and welcome to Sunset News this Wednesday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I am Glenora Shipura. In the news tonight, Prime Minister Saraku Kongwela Amadila this morning opened the Namibia Oil and Gas Conference, stating that the outcome of the oil discoveries made in the country can positively impact Namibia's economy. She also assured the nation that government decisions will be guided by the best interest of the country.
Of oil and gas producing countries should be a carefully considered one. Our government is committed to an approach that places socio-economic development and environmental stewardship at the heart of our efforts. The decisions we make today will reverberate for generations to come. Therefore, as we venture into this new frontier, we are dedicated to learning from those that came before us and adopt the highest international standards, mitigate environmental risks, and embrace innovation to minimize our ecological footprint. The government remains committed to the calling of Vision 2030, which states that Namibia should develop herself using her own resources, both human and natural resources. We are committed to promote responsible development that encompasses economic prosperity, social progress, and environmental well-being. This conference is of vital importance as Namibia recognizes the full potential of the sector, which undoubtedly bring economic growth, offering new avenues for employment creation, skills development, and investment opportunities. This will improve the socio-economic welfare of the Namibian people. Further, the Namibia Oil and Gas Conference serves as a platform for dialogue, learning, and knowledge exchange. It is here where we demonstrate our inclusive approach by deliberately ensuring that the barriers to participation are removed. A coordinated approach is required to unlock support from countries with similar ambitions. In this regard, I commend the organizers of the conference for bringing together the collective wisdom of experts who have traversed similar paths in other parts of the world to share experience and best practices on oil and gas. Your insights, successes, and even your challenges will guide us as we navigate this uncharted territory.
The Rosing Foundation over the weekend donated 200 books to Shanika Nashilongo Secondary School in Okahau, Omusati region to promote a reading culture at the school. Lysias Usuku, manager for academia at the Rosing Foundation in Odangwa, said the foundation has earmarked a total of 5,328 library books to be donated to various school libraries across the country.
It has earmarked a total of 5,328 library books to be donated to various school libraries across the country. Recently, 200 books were donated to J.P. Brandt Primary School in Erongo, 170 books to Katora Primary School in Erongo region, 200 books to Tutaleni High School in Erongo region, 170 books to Andimba Toivo in Oshana, and today 200 books to Shanika Nashilongo in Omusati region. My dear learners, directors of ceremonies, I would like to encourage the learners of Shanika Nashilongo Secondary School to commit their valuable time to make use of the library and put this reading material to good use, either for examination preparation or for personal growth.
Getting into our next story, Indongo Ford announced Ongwediva Town Council spokesperson Jackson Muma is their brand ambassador for the new Gen Ranger. Anton Paulus, sales manager, said with the Ongwediva annual trade fair around the corner, the company aims to capitalize on the fair to show the visitors in town of the new car on the market. Paulus said the new benefit on the cost of ownership is that the old cars had a service plan, but the new gen has a maintenance plan.
This is for the ambassador.
Thank you very much. I'm actually excited and proud to be associated with Ford, particularly Indongo Ford. This means that Indongo Ford is moving forward to the next level with this new generation vehicles. My friend, it's either Ford or nothing, because these vehicles command authority on the road. So thank you very much, Indongo Ford, and I'm sure that you will see more of Ford drivers. Some of us have been driving White Track and all that. I'll be excited to drive the next generation. Thank you very much.
Herman Gemaina Primary School, a publicly funded private institution, has garnered attention as calls intensify for the removal of its principal, Maureen Gottlieb. The principal has been accused of misusing her authority and mishandling school resources, leading to concerns about the well-being of both learners and staff. The school board, in conjunction with concerned parents, have voiced allegations of corruption and financial irregularities directed at Maureen Gottlieb. Hilya Kambonde, the school board chairperson, highlighted these concerns in an interview with the Namibian Sun. Kambonde disclosed that since September 2021, suspicions of fraudulent activity have arisen following a decision made by Gottlieb and the former school board chairperson, Ivan Tsabalala. The decision involved awarding a construction contract worth $1.1 million to Pema Strat Construction and Civil CC, a company in which Gottlieb's nephew holds a significant stake. According to Kambonde, the decision was made without consulting other school board members and allegedly disregarded provisions of the Public Procurement Act of Namibia. Kambonde elaborated on the controversy, stating, beyond the construction controversy, Gottlieb faces accusations of further financial mismanagement within the school. Now, a local recruitment agency, Potentia, has won the bid to handle the hiring process of 8 executive positions for the Green Hydrogen Implementation Authority office that will be headed by Green Hydrogen Commissioner and Presidential Economic Advisor James Newper. The bid submitted by Potentia is $186,251.47 Namibian dollars, value-added tax included. Newper's appointment was announced on the 7th of August 2023, and 3 days later he announced that they have teamed up with Potentia Recruitment Agency to turn this visionary program into a resounding success. He also announced on LinkedIn the 8 executive roles that they will be recruiting and urged interested candidates to get in touch with Potentia via email. These positions are Executive Assistant to Newper, Head of Program Management, Head of Planning and Strategy, Head of Strategy, Head of Transactions, Head of Technical and Construction, Head of Contract Management, Head of Impact Environmental, Head of Social and Governance, Head of Legal Affairs, and Head of Finance and Corporate Services. Dennis, when approached for comment, was in a meeting and could not take a call, but confirmed that they were the successful bidder. Newper explained that the recruitment for the agency is done by the Environmental Investment Fund because the donors prefer it that way. Read about these stories and more in the Namibian Sun tomorrow. Now, about 150 taxi drivers in Walvis Bay held a peaceful demonstration to address their dissatisfaction towards the road conditions of Kesepont and the industrial area. They also raised concerns about discrimination against Kesepont and factory sites road users when it comes to budget allocation on road maintenance by the local authority council.
That's why it is a request to
Now, in our Story of the Day segment, the Energy Minister says oil's investments should be well managed. We get into this story after the break.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune in to Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Speaking at the Namibia Gas and Oil Conference, which commenced in Windhoek today, Mines and Energy Minister Tom Alwinto emphasized that oil investments need to be well managed for them to make positive results for Namibia. He urged officials involved in the gas and oil sector to always act in the best interest of the country, as Takamati reports.
Aspirations for what this sector can actually mean to us. We also need to be cognizant of the social, political and economic complexities that can arise because of the oil sector. While potential significant oil investments are expected to flow into the country, it is not also given that prosperity will flow. Prosperity will follow only if the investments and the consequent oil revenue are well managed, and if not well managed, the subsequent results could well be worsened socio-economic challenges. Therefore, poor management of the oil and gas sector can drive corruption and inequality that in turn will fuel social tensions and can threaten our political stability. We thus need to learn lessons from some oil-producing nations whose oil production has not resulted in a broad-based socio-economic development. And the duty to do so is on all of us, especially those of us who are entrusted with a public responsibility.
Tsumeb is planning to celebrate dates through the My Papa Can competition. We take a look at this story on the other side of the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Now, Tsumeb is planning to celebrate dates through the My Papa Can competition. This will take place on the 7th of October. Megan Soden is challenging her dad, Brian, by saying he can shoot an eland. Let's take a look.
My papa kan jou papa.
Wat is jou naam?
Megan.
En hoe oud is jy, Megan? 4 jaar oud. Joe. En wat doen jou papa baie goed?
Hy skiet.
Wat skiet hy?
Elande.
En wat dan maak julle dan met die elande?
Ons eet dit.
Ja, dat is sharp. Sê, ek het hom.
Kan my papa kan jou papa.
In economic news, Bond keeps the repo rate unchanged at 7.75%. We'll obviously take a look at the story on the other side of the break.
To another exciting episode of Irongo Talk. We bring jou lees die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis heel moontlik gaan byt.
Let's take a look at our economic news. After hiking the repo rate by 100 basis points thus far in 2023, the Bank of Namibia at the fourth monetary policy announcement decided to keep the repo rate at 7.75%. That means the prime lending rates for local commercial banks will also remain at 11.50%. Similarly, the South African Reserve Bank also left the repo rate unchanged at 8.25% at the fourth monetary policy announcement in June. That leaves Namibia 50 basis points behind. Let's take a look at our financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 24.31, against the euro at 20.83, against the US dollar at 19.14. 2 Namibian dollars and 62 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, all major commodities went down, with Brent crude oil trading at 1.47%, going for $83 and 93 cents per barrel. In international news, South African woman found guilty of murdering her daughters.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Now, as mentioned before the break, a South African woman was found guilty earlier today of murdering her 3 young daughters in New Zealand. Lauren Ann Dickerson killed her 2-year-old twins and their 6-year-old sister in September 2021. That was a month after the family had immigrated from South Africa to live in Timaru, a city of 29,000 in the South Island. Let's take a look.
A South African woman was found guilty on Wednesday of murdering her 3 young daughters in New Zealand. Lauren Ann Dickerson killed her 2-year-old twins and their 6-year-old sister in September 2021. That was a month after the family had immigrated from South Africa to live in Timaru, a city of 29,000 in the South Island. New Zealand media have previously reported that Dickerson's husband found the 3 children dead and his wife in a serious condition after arriving home from a dinner with colleagues. Media said a jury came to a majority verdict that Dickerson was not insane at the time of the killings and was guilty of murder, following a month-long trial. The judge remanded Dickerson to custody in a hospital psychiatric unit until her sentencing. She has been in hospital since the murders.
Now, Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen said earlier today that he plans to ask China to take a stronger position on Ukraine and to speak to Russian President Vladimir Putin about the war. Rasmussen said he will discuss Ukraine and bilateral cooperation on green energy with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi when they two meet this coming Friday in Beijing. He will also meet Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wentao tomorrow.
Then, of course, we also want to discuss matters where we don't necessarily look eye to eye. Among them, most importantly, what's going on in Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, where I think we need China to take a stronger position. Putin is not listening to European leaders, but he's clearly listened to China. So I want to argue that China should, speak up. I'm going to meet the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Beijing Friday, and I will use that occasion to touch upon subjects as the war in Ukraine, but of course also things which actually bind us together. And I think that is what you expect of friends, that you speak openly also about these issues where you don't necessarily look eye to eye.
Let's take a look at the weather predictions for tomorrow. Katima Mulilo can expect a minimum of 14 degrees and a maximum of 34 degrees, while Oshakati can expect a minimum of 15 degrees with a maximum of 32 degrees. Hendy's Bay can expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 12 degrees and a maximum of 16 degrees. Rehoboth with a minimum of 12 degrees and a maximum of 26 degrees. After the break, we get into your sports news, courtesy of Sports Rep.
Namibians are still safe.
Everywhere else, the Supreme Court said we are not going to rely on foreign judgments.
By all means, we try to not make journalists public figures, but at the end of the day, they are.
Very good evening. My name is Taiwan Jabala, your host.
With their Protestant offsprings.
But the implementation, like she says, is another thing.
Good day and welcome to Sunset News, brought to you by SportRev. I'm your host, Limpa Mupetami. The Namibia Hockey Union announced the appointment of Melissa Gillies as the new head coach for the Namibian hockey women's team. Gillies brings a wealth of experience and proven track record of success to her role. Former Ramblers, Orlando Pirates and Black Africa coach Woody Jacobs is said to become the first Namibian coach to lead a club in Botswana. Jacobs signed a year contract with newly promoted Botswana outfit Matebele Football Club. Moving on, the Minister of Sport, Agnes Shongarero, has called on officials and coaches to stop infighting for the athletes' best interest. In recent interviews, the minister said Namibia has talented athletes, but their potential is hampered by infighting created by those administrating sports. Lastly, we caught up with Namibian golfer Lucius Nande on this week's episode of Athletes World. That ends today's Sunset News. Do catch us again tomorrow.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin. Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune in to Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
You're still watching Sunset News, and if you've just joined us, here are the news highlights from today's broadcast. Herman Gemeiner Primary School, a publicly funded private institution, has garnered attention as calls intensify for the removal of its principal, Maureen Gottlieb. Local recruitment agency Potentia has won the bid to handle the hiring process of 8 executive positions for the Green Hydrogen Implementation Authority office that will be headed by Green Hydrogen Commissioner and Presidential Economic Advisor James Newper. Former Ramblers, Orlando Pirates and Black Africa coach Woody Jacobs is set to become the first Namibian coach to lead a club in Botswana. Jacobs signed a year contract with newly promoted Botswana outfit Matebele Football Club. And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all the NMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, oneup2.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 every weekday from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. I am Glenora Shipura, and this has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.